Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Tales from Inside My Numbskull. I'm also going to combine it with my love of life and humour and taking the mickey and just having a good laugh at things. I'm going to read you another chapter from my book Graceful Thoughts, which is available from me directly if you're in the UK, or on Amazon as a Kindle download. Now this story is all about people's opinions. The context of the book, it was written during or around the time of the COVID outbreak and the pandemic. And there was a lot of sides formed, there was a lot of opinions and things like that. And to be truthful, because I'm such an awkward git, I'm not really interested in other people's opinions and things like that. If they don't fit in with the way that I think, then so be it. I always have this saying around me that opinions are like bumholes. Everybody's got one. Like, so it's how much you take from what people throw in and around you, and I don't force my opinion on other people, and quite equally I don't expect them to force their opinion on me, because it'll go nowhere. And I got inundated with people, I'm on this side, I'm on that side, and to be truthful, I just wanted to stay friends with people, because what I didn't like was the divide that it was all created. So I found that quite difficult to process at the time, so I approached it like I do with humour. And I sat down to write one morning, and this is genuinely what this is called. This is called Opinions Are Like Bumholes, Smoke and Mirrors. And when I wrote this chapter and I sent it off to my friend Mr. Timothy that edited it, I said to him I didn't want the context of it changing. I didn't want the title changing. I just wanted it to go down in its rawness. And it made it into the chapter in the book. So I'm absolutely delighted, because the morning that I wrote it, I was probably in a grump about something, because I'm not a morning person. But it's just, I always find that writing is a very cathartic way to get rid of any stale energy that's around you. So I very often do it. I've got notes everywhere. I've got little bits of paper, and it helps me clear my mind. So this is the idea behind doing these videos, is that, yeah, okay, I might sell a few of my books, and I'm happy with that. But to help people realise that out there are other people that have eclectic thought processes and are not always very clear on what they want to get out. So they need an outlet of creativity to get rid of whatever it is that's bothering them, without having the confrontation of actually sitting down with people and airing out the differences. So I give you Opinions Are Like Bumholes. Opinions are like bumholes, brackets, smoke and mirrors, by Rick Paul. Bold opening words. Allow me to explain. Opinions are like bumholes in that everybody has one. The smoke and mirrors reference is about circumstances that are around currently and when the planet is in its normal state. This article's theme is one of part social commentary and part guidance, and you must decide what is pertinent to you and act accordingly. I share a similar background to my father-in-law. He worked for over 20 years in a prison, and I did 12. My father-in-law was a man of great action rather than a prolonged period of thinking, and also, like me, cleared his head while he was out walking. During my early years in the job, I would often turn to him for advice and frequently ask how best to cope in a disciplined service. He used to tell me to look at the bigger picture. What is going on when something happens? Is it genuine, or is it a distraction? Or is it a cover for something else? I'll attempt to paint you a picture to illustrate my thoughts. In prison, you are in a confined space with lots of mad, bad and dangerous people who couldn't or wouldn't conform to society's laws. Anything, and I mean anything, is a potential flashpoint, the little spark, if you will, that can ignite the powder keg. I give you this scenario. heated words are exchanged between two parties. Punches are thrown. More people get involved and a melee ensues. This sets off a series of events and staff then become involved and attempt to de-escalate the situation. Everybody has a part to play, so let's examine the roles. Office Junior hasn't had a lot of time on the landings and is keen to dive in at the point of explosion and separate the two factions. His thought process is to react, divide and conquer. He's a firefighter in essence that will put out a small fire before it becomes a massive blaze. His method is simple: contain the scene and deal with what is presented. The hot incident. He takes bold, decisive actions using problem-solving skills based on the experience that he has, or in some cases hasn't. He has done his best and sorted the potential problem, or has he? Enter Senior Officer, who has a lot more experience and more landing time under his belt, and he sees things slightly differently. Observing the melee, he allows Junior to dive in. What does Senior do? Well, he surveys the scene from a different vantage point. What else is going on during the initial altercation? What are the fringe players doing while attention is diverted? I ask you to consider this. I have invented this narrative to embellish my story or bring you around to my way of thinking. Or have I? No, I've just set a scene. I saw these scenarios play out many times over my prison service career. Something kicks off and a chain of events would occur, and everyone involved in the chain of events had a part to play. Now, whether that was the main protagonists, the person who was doing the distraction, the dealer who would take advantage to pass his stuff, or even the victims or targets, all were worthy of consideration. What we saw with our own eyes match up with what was happening. Are we drawing any parallels with current events? People who are right in the thick of things, those who react first and think later, don't have either the vision or the vantage point to see things from a neutral or more informed position. The reason being that they are blinkered on focusing on sorting out the presenting problem. Senior is in a better position because he is on the outskirts observing the bigger picture. I now throw in another person in this production, the operator of the CCTV system. He is watching things from a locked room's safety. He is directly involved and he is recording everything and seeing a bigger picture. Is he in a position of advantage or not? Consider, there's no sound. He is watching from another perspective and projects his feelings into the scene, and is powerless unless his thought process influences his interpretation of the scene. He may embellish on what is going on. He is in an excellent position to observe. But would the evidence he provide later be neutral and without bias? To my mind, the answer is doubtful. Early in my career, I listened to sound advice which stays with you. It is, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see, and you will be okay. With this word in mind, consider today's situations. Is everything we read and listen to accurate? When a prison incident finishes, all involved record evidence onto a report form. The report form must be completed soon after the event because it's fresh in the mind. It is written away from others, so it is your own version. So when the governor reviews the evidence, it will be neutral. The individual's reports will allow him to assess the event. The crucial thing to note is he wasn't directly involved and will be or should be unbiased. Later, he'll present his findings from a neutral standpoint. Allow me to become the governor for a moment. I listen, I observe, and I present my own findings based on the evidence before me. I have no allegiance to any particular cause or indeed an opinion. The desire is to see the situation dealt with fairly, with the outcome of restoring the status quo. Current events cannot be ignored, and in the long term many will produce evidence and statistics to support other aspects of the crisis, and I hope without bias. Another thought is, are we just being distracted so as we don't see certain realities? The answer is your choice. We all have opinions. For the moment, life has in it hit and an enforce pause button. We're in a time of isolation. My feeling is we have a fantastic opportunity to slow our lives down and reflect on what is essential. Much like the singer who does an acoustic set, we have stripped things back to their rawest parts. Hearing your thoughts clearly without the usual background noise of daily life pressures is a great gift. We can assess what is essential, what is needed and what isn't. There are many confusions and much time to consider them. My future hope is people won't need a worldwide event to realise what is unique to them. Review evidence with an open and overseeing mind. Be the governor and look at things without biased and direct involvement. Imagine you're seeing events through another's eyes and observe any possible distorted ways of thinking. What is their angle for presenting this evidence? Being neutral and in a state of neutrality is a difficult skill to master. Try it, see how it works for you. Examine the players in life scenarios and ask what their role is, who will benefit, who will lose out, and then carefully draw your own conclusions. Be prepared to be challenged if your opinion doesn't meet the masses' approval. Free speech at times can come with a high price tag. My spiritual life has unfolded this way. I believe that helps guide people towards self-empowerment and help them access the tools that they have been given. I will also be brave enough, some say gobby enough, to point out any misdirections or other subtle clues that they may have missed. And when in that hot emotional moment, being a bigger picture person has merit because it allows you to stand back and observe. Meditate in a place of calm, quieten your mind and inner dialogue, and consider what is and what isn't essential. And you'll be surprised what occurs after focusing on yourself. And I will leave you with these thoughts. Live life. Take advantage of each day. Tomorrow is only a possibility. Live every day as the last. Give yourself every chance to succeed. And that, guys, was Opinions Like Bumholes. Thanks ever so much for listening. And as always, think your own thoughts and go out there and live the life that you choose. Keep being the stars that you are. And until the next one, thank you for watching.